Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to continue with the playlist. The last video I described the DDL and DML commands and also discussed on MySQL and SQL, and it was an introductory video. So today we are going to start with constraints in MySQL. So it is very important video and it is very famous topic also. So if you have not subscribed my channel, do subscribe it. Follow this playlist. I will be uploading each and every topic. Okay, so it will be enough for your placement preparation, your college level or any interview exam, and for knowledge purpose also. So what are the topics that we are going to discuss today? So these are the basically constraints that we are going to discuss today. So what is basically constraint in MySQL? So constraint in general term, constraint means any restriction. Restriction here, what can be the restriction? So in database, or I can say in relational database, we have a table present here in SQL. Okay, so we have fields as columns and we have rows as records. So we can put constraints on the fields, okay, on the fields, on the values present in the records. Okay, so these constraints are basically as written here. The constraint in MySQL is used to specify the rule. Okay, so we can define some rule before entering the data. Means while creating the structure of the table, I can give some rule, I can stick or I can attach some rule with the table, that whenever the user is entering some data into the table, that rule will be present there, like the guard is present in the gate, and that will verify, that will authenticate the data before entering. And if the data meet the condition which has been defined in the structure of the table, then only data can be inserted into the table. So that rule will allow or restricts data, that what values or data will be stored in the table. So this is basically the constraints. Don't worry if it is not clear at first time. We will be seeing each and everything in detail. So these are basically the 6 major constraints which are used throughout in SQL. Okay, so we will go with first one. We will go with first one, that is not null. As the name specifies, not null means whatever the value you are entering in the table, okay, whatever the value you are entering in the respective fields for a particular record, that value cannot be null, that value cannot be empty. Simple. This constraint specifies that the column cannot have null or empty value. If you are not clear with what is column or what is field, what is record, you can just watch my previous video in the same playlist. Okay, there I have described everything from very basics. So let's see not null in practical example. So I'm using this run SQL command line. I have talked about this in last video. Okay, we will start with not null first. Not null. So I will start with creating table. Let's say I'm creating some employee table. Create table employee. Okay, I want some field in the table. Let's say the first one is employee ID, and I want that whoever employee is working in the company, it must he must be having an employee ID. Obviously in real world, if any employee is working in any company or any student is being studying in any school, it will be having his ID, whether employee ID or roll number or registration number. It cannot be null if you are registered at somewhere. Okay, so employee ID. But while putting data, while storing data into the database, a user can make mistake that he can enter employee ID as null, or he can leave employee ID as empty for some student or for some employee. Okay, but it should not be, or I mean it will be violating in real world. So I should be mentioning here that employee ID should be not null. You can write this not null constraint in capital also. You will find in many places that it is written in capital, doesn't matter. Okay, you can write in capital also. This not null here is constraint. Before that, I should specify the data type for employee ID. Let's say it is integer. Space not null is the constraint. The next thing is I want employee name. So let's say first name. First name I am taking it as string, that is varchar. Let's say 10 characters. And the third I am taking as int, which age, which will be of type int. Enter. my table has been created. Where, how can I check the structure of the table? I can give description command. Description about employee ID is not null, okay, which is what I have given in the previous command. So let's go with inserting the values. Insert into employee, let's say values. Okay, the first column is employee ID, let's say 101. The second column is first name. First name means string means single quote. Let's say the name is Jay. Okay, and the age is 31, correct, and one row created. How can you check? Select star from employee. Yes, one row has been created. Okay, let's use this command. Insert into table name is employee. Okay, I want to insert only two columns for this table. Let's say first name and age. Okay, I'm creating one new record, and for that I have only first name and age. I don't have employee ID, or by mistake I'm not putting employee ID. Okay, next is values. For the first name, let's say the name is John, and for age, his age is, let's say, 45. Okay, here I am not entering any employee ID, but I have given the constraint while creating the table, or in the structure of the table it is mentioned that employee ID cannot be null. Okay, it should be there, it cannot be empty. But while entering data, I am making it empty, I am not giving any value. Let's check whether it allows me or not. Oh, that's an error. Cannot insert null into this. That we were doing. So you have put some constraint in the table that is protecting you from entering the wrong values. So it is maintaining the integrity of your database. It is maintaining the integrity of tables present in the database. So in this way your consistent database will be generated. Okay, this was the not null constraint. Oh, this command is very pathetic. Yeah. Okay, the next constraint is check. Check, as the name specify, you can put some constraint on any field that insert or allow the user to insert value only when the given value is greater than some value, or it is equivalent to some specified value, or it is less than the value. Okay, in the similar fashion, let's say I want to, I will go with practical directly. I will drop the table created above employee. Okay, table drop. Again I am saying, if you are not getting how I am creating table, how I am inserting value, how I am using drop, you can refer my last video. There everything I have covered. Okay, I will again use this command to create my table. Okay, let's say the same thing is there, but with age. I want to check that my employee, or I can say directly that whenever the data is being inserted into the table, record is being inserted, the employee should be of age greater than 25. That's the policy of my company. Okay, so any employee less than 25 age cannot be an employee of my company. So here I can write check. Okay, check, and in bracket I can write, means you have to give parenthesis here. Let's say age should be greater than equals to 25. Then only a record can be inserted into the employee table. Table created. You can describe your table, or you can see the description of a table. Yes. Now let's go with inserting the value. Let's say employee ID is 101, name is J, and age is 31. Is it greater than 25? Age is greater than 25 here? Yes, one row created. Okay, let's go with the second employee. His name is John, and let's say his age is less than 25. Let's say 20 only. Will it allow me to insert this record into my table? No, it is saying that you are violating the condition. Okay, some check constraint has been applied into the column. Okay, and what is that constraint? Your age should be greater than 25. So in this way, in the schema of table, that is when you are creating the table, when you are creating the structure of the table, you put some constraint that your age should be greater than equals to 25 for so, or I can I can say that for the age field, for this field you have given some constraint. While inserting values here, this field, that is age field, has been checked with this constraint whether it is greater than 25 or not. It is not, so it is not allowing you to insert that record. So that is the usefulness of constraints in SQL. Okay, next we will go with default constraint. As the name is specified, you can, again we will start with creating the table. When you are defining the structure of the table, when you are creating the table, at that time you can define some columns as, or you can define some fields as default values. Okay, so while inserting the records, if you forget to specify the value, this default value will be taken. Or if you have let's say multiple employees and your company is located in Mumbai, and you know that for every employee, the column that is city will contain the Mumbai value only. So instead of inserting Mumbai each time, instead of doing the duplicate or redundant work, you can just put the default value as Mumbai while declaring the table, while creating the table structure itself. Okay, so that will be handy for you. Let's see in practical. So I am again dropping the table structure, drop table employee. Okay, table drop. Let's clear the screen. Again go with creating the table. So I'm removing this check constraint from here. Okay, just to make it simpler. Okay, what we were doing is default. So we can remove this age from here, and we can add one more field, that is city. City will be in a string, so I can take varchar, let's say size is 10, and here I want some default constraint. Again here, this default you can write it in capital also. It depends version to version. Okay, capital will also work, small letters will also work. Default, and what default I want? Mumbai. Okay, so whenever you forget to enter, the Mumbai will be taken automatically. Okay, let's describe my table. What's the structure created? So if I describe my table, I got for employee ID, first name and city. Let's start with inserting the values. So simple, I am inserting 101 J, and let's say city is Delhi. Okay, default value is Mumbai. If I will write Delhi, it will replace the default value because I am specifying the value as Delhi, that is default value. Okay, one row created. If you check what has been inserted, whether it's Delhi or Mumbai, select star from employee, it is Delhi as what we talked. Okay, next thing, how when this default value will be used. So I will use this command for inserting values. Okay, let's say I am inserting first name, or I will say, to make it a good, employee ID, first name, and I'm not inserting any city. Okay, first employee ID is, let's say, 102, and first name is, let's say, Jay is already there, so I can give let's say Joe. Okay, I'm not inserting this value for the field called city. One row created, select star from employee. Yeah, for the second row, or for the second record which we just pushed into the table, the city was automatically taken as Mumbai. Why? Because while defining the structure for this table, I specified that default value for the city column or the city field will be Mumbai. That's the use of this default constraint. I hope it's clear. Next I will go with unique. Primary key I will come after the unique. Unique means, as the name specifies, again it is very simple. Whenever you are inserting any record, if that field has been made as unique, you cannot have multiple records with the same value. Let's say in a company you have multiple employees. Obviously employee ID cannot be duplicate. No two employees can be there in a company having the same employee ID. Or if I go to example of a school, no two students in the same class can have the same roll number or matching roll number, obviously they should be unique. So if there are 70 students in a class, there can be mistake by a manual user who is entering the data of the students in the database, that he can enter some wrong values. For the 2 students, he can enter the same roll number. So for that, before inserting into the table, you should have some constraint, and that is unique. Okay, unique means if you have put this constraint, definitely before inserting the value, it will check with the previous data which is present in the table, and it will cross check that whatever data you are entering for that field is not present already in the table. Is it clear? Okay, we will go with the example. I will again drop this table employee. Okay, let's clear the screen. Let's create the table with new structure again. We have to show you unique. Okay, so let's say employee ID is not null. Obviously any employee working in company cannot have null employee ID. Together with that, the employee ID should also be unique for each employee. That what happens in real world, you can also think. Okay, so together with not null, I am also giving employee ID as unique. Okay, yeah, the first name is Verket, city is Verket, default is Mumbai. Let's remove the default. Let's make it simple. Table created. You can describe the table to check whether the fields have been inserted as you wanted or not. Yes, employee ID, first name and city is not is there. Okay, let's go with inserting values. So go with simple command. 101 employee ID Jay, and he is living in Delhi. 1 row created. Let's go with second employee whose name is, let's say, John. He is also living in Delhi, doesn't matter. 1 row created. Now I am going to insert one more record, but I am again using the employee ID 102, and that employee ID is already present, and I have attached the constraint called unique to the employee ID, and before inserting record, it will be checking that whether 102 is present there or not. Okay, let's say the name is Joe and he is living in Mumbai. Enter. Yeah, it is giving me error that unique constraint violated, means this 102 is already present. Employee ID should be unique. So if there are multiple records, if there are 1000 students or 1000 employees in my company, in my school, while inserting this wrong value, this command line will tell me, okay, that you are inserting the wrong value. Why? Because unique constraint is there. So that is the advantage of unique constraint. It is saving me from entering the duplicate values or creating redundant data. Clear? Now next thing is primary key. It is very important, mostly used, mostly asked everywhere. They will ask you primary key and foreign key. What is primary key? If you apply unique key and not null value together, it becomes primary key. Unique. So primary key constraint is basically used to identify the each record in a table uniquely. What does this mean? If I show you the table present currently, let's say enter one more value 103, it will be inserted because it's unique ID. Okay, select star from employee. There are 3 records in the given employee table. Are 3 records unique in between them? Yes. The first one is about Jay, which has unique employee IDs. Same goes for everyone else. Okay, so why it is unique? Because you have used unique and not null. Okay, both in employee ID, which is making each record unique to another record. Okay, or I can say each employee present in the company will have unique employee ID, and employee ID cannot be null. That's what we have talked earlier. Okay, the same is primary key. So the combination of unique and not null can be specified as primary key. Primary key is basically used to identify each record. Okay, how can you identify each record uniquely? If everyone has employee ID unique and it is not a null, it is there, it is not empty, obviously that person will be unique. It can happen that 101 have name Jay and 102 also have name Jay. Okay, their city is also same, Delhi, but these two person will definitely have different employee ID, so these two can be identified as a different unit or as different person on basis of their employee ID. So this what is provided by primary key. Okay, so I am dropping the table structure. If I am taking time, the video is going long, doesn't matter if it's clear to you, if everything is clear to you. Okay, drop table employee. I will just clear the screen. I will again go with creating the table, and this time I will use primary key. So instead of unique, I can directly say that, let's say one field is their employee ID which cannot be empty, so I should use constraint not null here. There's some first name for employee, there's some city for employee, and at last I can write that there is one primary key, or put some constraint called primary key for this column, and the column name is employee ID. Okay, you can write this primary key employee ID here also after the employee ID declaration, or you can write at end also. I prefer to write at end because it is simple. First you define the structure for the table, and at last you define what are your primary key in the table. Okay, enter. Table created. Describe the table to check, to cross verify. Yeah, these were the columns which I inserted. Let's go with inserting the values. Same thing, 101, Joe lives in Mumbai, one row created. 102, let's say John, he's also living in Mumbai, one row created. Now what I will do, I will go with duplicate value. Let's say I will again insert one employee having employee ID 101, which is already present in my employee table. Okay, let's say his name is Ben, he's living in Mumbai. Okay, city, here city doesn't matter, we are not putting any constraint on city. It is showing me the unique constraint violated because I have used primary key for this employee ID. Here you can see I have not used any unique constraint, but I am using not null plus primary key. So combined it is equivalent to not null plus unique. Primary key is helping me to uniquely identify each row. This line I am again repeating because it is very important. If you get the gist of this line, the primary key is clear to you. How it is uniquely helping me to identify each row? I am again inserting one record which is having employee ID is 101, but the logic says in the table, if I see the table, select star from employee, there is already one employee present which is having employee ID 101, and logically you cannot enter another record having the same employee ID. The two employees cannot have same employee ID. Okay, so primary key constraint is about that. Okay, you can have more than one primary key also in the table. How? Let's say one primary key is not sufficient, employee ID is not sufficient to uniquely identify, there are multiple employees. Okay, so taking just employee ID, or you can say you have multiple departments in your company, let those departments are meeting in some function, okay, organized by the company. So 101 is present in HR department, the same employee 101 can also be present in technological department, but when they are meeting for a common function, if 101 is called, both the employees will stand. So in that case, if that common database is present for whole mixing the department employees, in that case 101 will conflict. So I can take two primary keys, I can take two column, not two primary key, I can take more than one column as combined primary key. What I want to say is, when you were defining the structure of the table, here you can take employee ID and his name also. Okay, so for each record in a given table, or for each row in a given table, employee ID plus name, both the field should be unique together. Means if 101 Joe is present, there can be another 101 also. Okay, there can be another Joe also, but 101 plus Joe means these two combined fields cannot be again exist in the table. So if you run this command by yourself, and if you try to insert values again, let's say 101 comma Joe, it will not take, because 101 comma Joe is combinedly given to the primary key. So both acting together as a primary key. Simple. So both these fields are uniquely helping me to uniquely identify each row in a table. There can be a single employee. You can give again 101 with different name than Joe. You can take new employee ID, again give the name first name as Joe, no problem, but 101 plus Joe, the same entry for both the fields cannot be present in a table. So it is basically providing you extra layer of confirming that unique row is not present, because with employee ID it was not enough for you to verify all the employees, because multiple departments were having the same employee ID. Correct? Now the one more thing I want to tell here is, if you want to alter the primary key, means you created the table but you forgot to add the primary key. Okay, you created the table with this command, okay, but you forgot to add this primary key. One condition for that should be there, your field for which you are going to now add primary keys must have been defined as not null while creating the structure of the table. So while running this command, if you forgot to add this part of primary key, you must have added this employee ID as not null. Then only you can alter the table with this command, alter table, okay, employee, add primary key, and for which column you want to add primary key, employee ID. You can alter the table structure and add primary key for this column employee ID, but employee ID should be not null, and this not null must have been defined while creating the structure of the table. Okay, if you can also drop the primary key from the table, okay, for that the simple command is alter table employee drop, and you can write primary key. One table can have only one primary key, only one column can be used to identify the each record uniquely. It's a common sense. Okay, more than one column cannot be together used to identify each record uniquely. So there is only one primary key always on a table, whether it's composite, I mean more than one column combination, or single, doesn't matter, but there will be only one primary key in a table. So you can use alter table name and drop primary key. It will automatically drop that primary key, because we have only one primary key in a table. It will automatically identify about what we are talking here. Okay, this is the command. I'm not running it because I want to show you something else. Okay, the next very important is foreign key. Okay, what is foreign key? So let's go with the practical. I will show you there. Let's say I am creating one more table. Create table name is department, okay, and for columns I can take values as, let's say I have department ID, okay, department ID as int, comma, department name, let's say department name as varchar string, okay, 20, and for every department there will be some employee, so let's say employee ID, okay, and it should be int. Okay, now department is for which? It is for company only. So any department present in the company will have only those employees which are present in the database of in employee table, which is present in the employee database. That employee only can be present here for the respective departments. So there should be some constraint, or there should be some binding between the employee and department table. That is where foreign key is used. So I want to say that I have an employee ID field in this department table, okay, and this employee ID field will only have those value like 101, 102 which are present in employee table. Okay, if employee table has employee table does not contain any 106 employee ID, I cannot put it here in front of any department, because 106 is not in record of my employee. How it can be allocated to any department in company? Correct. So I want to put constraint that while creating any record for this department table, only those employee will be allocated to department which are present in your employee table. Correct. So for that I can use foreign key. How to assign foreign key here? You can just write that I have employee ID which is int, it is foreign key. Okay, it is foreign key, which your employee ID is foreign key. Okay, first give all the field name. After that, at last, same like primary key, I am giving it last. You can specify the constraint as foreign key. Okay, for which column? For this employee ID, and it is taking references from which table? From employee table, and inside employee table it is taking reference from this column employee ID. Okay, now you must be having one confusion that whether the column name in both the tables should be same. No, it is not necessary. In this department table you can take it as employee ID, EID. Okay, EID. So there is one column in my department table, that is EID. It is foreign key. Why? Because it is taking reference from this employee table and its employee ID column. It will be more clear. Just wait a minute. Table created. Describe the table, that is department ID, department name, EID. Let's first see the data of employee ID already present. Yeah, so 2 employee IDs are already present. Let's go with inserting the values in department table. So insert into department, values. And what values I want to insert here? First I want to insert department ID here, department name and employee. Department ID, let's say 901. Okay, department name, let's say HR department is there. Next is employee ID, and obviously employee should be present from your employee table only. Whatever employee which you will be allocating here to department, he must have been registered with the company, so his name or his employee ID must have been present in the database, otherwise you cannot put here. So this is the constraint I have given here, that this EID which I am going to put here in department table is foreign key, means it taking reference from employee ID present in employee table, means this field employee ID in this employee table. Only these employee can be allocated to department in an organization. No one will come from outside with any random employee ID. Okay, let's go with random employee ID 105. 105 is not registered here, it is not present in employee table. Will it be allocated to department? No. Why? Oh, sorry. Actually, single quotes will come here. Yeah. 105 cannot be inserted. Why? Violated. Parent key not found, means 105 is not present in this parent key, that is employee ID of employee table. Okay, 101 is present or not? Yeah, one row created. Okay, let's say there is another department 902. It is about software department SW, and employee is 102. Inserted. Okay, for the same department 902, for the same department name software, if I go with 101, he can also be part of this department 101. No problem. If you do, just a minute, I will do clear screen, will show you again. Select star from department. Yeah, you can see only the employee IDs present in the employee table are allocated to department. No one else has been allocated. I try with employee ID 105. I was not allowed to insert. Only 101 and 102 are present in my database or in my employee table. They are only been allocated to my department table. Correct? So this is basically used of foreign key binding to table with some constraint. Okay, so the department table is based on your employee table. Same condition you can take with teacher and codes. Okay, a student and codes. So this was about the constraint video. These were the popular constraint. I have covered each and every in detail in practical. If you have any doubt, feel free to comment out in the below of the video. Subscribe the channel, like the video, and do reach me out in the comments if you need any help, or if anything is not clear.